What's up? Make it stick. If you were tuned in yesterday, you know we got a lot to do on Anki today, so let's jump right in. What are the 6 sections to Chapter 2 to learn retrieve? Reflection is a form of practice. The testing effect, studying the testing effect in the wild. Studying the testing effect in the lab, studying test effect in the wild, exploring nuances, the takeaway. Yeah. Good. 11 days, we'll see it again. Good. What are the 14 claims the authors make in Make It Stick? Here we go. There's a direct relationship between effort and learning, referring to specifically retrieval practice. We're often poor judges of when we're learning. Mass practice and rereading are among the most common study techniques across domains, yet science does not support them to be effective study techniques. Retrieval practice, on the other hand, is more effective than reviewing notes and rereading. It's been shown to be by evidence. 5. Spacing and interleaving retrieval practice makes it feel more difficult, makes it feel less productive, but in reality, it actually leads to more learning because of the effort relationship we've already explored, potential other relationships, but that's the core of it. 6, attempting to do something before learning how to do it, or attempting to express some form of knowledge that you don't have yet before you've learned how to do it, leads to deeper learning once you do learn how to do it. 7, there is no evidence to support the idea that sticking with one preferred learning resource style, like visual, audio, auditory, kinesthetic, etc., sticking to one form of learning resource leads to improved learning. No evidence to support that. However, there is evidence to support the idea that using a broad array of different modalities or resources does lead to better learning. 8, discrimination skills and the ability to discriminate between two closely related things and understand the deep underlying principles that make the two things different, the nuances between the differences, is a skill that can be developed through interleaved and varied practice, and it also leads to ability to discriminate and recognize uniqueness in other similar things in the future. 9, man, I think we're good up until this point. What is 9 though? Oh, it's right there. Anyway, well, let's go to 10. We'll save 9. Let's say 10 is there's no known limit to how much we can learn if we use elaboration. 10, wait, was that 10? That might have been 10. We're all susceptible to illusions of knowing, that is, having bad calibrations or understandings of our abilities. Typically overestimating our abilities. And this is a skill that we can calibrate, or this is our understanding of our own abilities and knowledge can be better calibrated through testing. That's 10. 11. All learning requires previous learning. We're going to get them all here right here. 12. The bigger picture, the more ideas you can connect knowledge to, meaning the more information you know about a subject, or the more information you already know that you can connect new information to, the deeper, the better the learning, and more efficient. 13. A characteristic of deep expertise and mastery is the ability to distill something, a subject or resource, into its underlying principles and create a mental model from those underlying principles, and then connect that mental model to other mental models you have. Finally, 14, learning changes the brain physically. We can become smarter. There is a direct relationship between effort and yes. 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 Yep. Got it. 14 for 14, boys. See that again in 11 days. Why can blocked mass practice feel effective but lead to poor long-term retention? It can feel effective because it leads to delusions of knowing. It leads to developing momentary strength that quickly fades after being done and lacks doesn't actually physically change the brain as much as you got momentary strength and you got underlying habit strength. Masked and block practice builds momentary strength, but that doesn't necessarily translate into underlying habit strength. And underlying habit strength is what we need to be able to cold do something without warm up, without practice, without prep, like what level of skill or knowledge we have about something. So it builds momentary strength, but doesn't translate all of that into underlying habit strength. Creates momentary strength. Performance improves temporarily, but learning doesn't stick due to lack of effort, full retrieval, or spacing. I should say and spacing. Okay, so it creates momentary strength. That's why, but it doesn't lead to encoding. It doesn't stick. Performance improves temporarily. It doesn't stick due to lack of effort, full retrieval, and spacing. Okay, we'll just say again. What are desirable difficulties and why do they enhance learning? Well, this is kind of stupid. I'm actually going to delete this card. Actually, we'll just keep it. I mean, that's really the idea of chapter 4, not chapter 3. ChatGPT got that wrong, but we'll do it anyway. Desirable difficulties are like these challenges that lead to more effort, cognitive effort, and as a consequence lead to deeper encoding. And stronger memory. Consolidation. Those are like the same thing. Good enough. Interleave practice is why is it more effective than block practice? Interleave practice is practice that is mixed up between different types of problems within a single study session. It's more effective than block practice because it leads to more cognitive effort, which leads to more desirable difficulty, which leads to more encoding and memory consolidation. It makes different problem types in a skill in a single session. It builds discrimination and retrieval flexibility, leading to stronger, more durable learning. Okay, but that's again, we forgot discrimination. What does feeling like you're not learning often signal ineffective practice? It actually signals that you are learning because it's very effortful, and these neurochemicals that are released from the effort and adaptation are going to lead to more brain change. You're engaging you're engaging in effortful learning, interleaving, which feels harder but produces better long-term retention. You're engaging in effortful learning. Okay. What does varied practice help learners extract and transfer? The underlying principles, underlying principles. The underlying principles are patterns of a skill, enabling flexible use in new and unfamiliar contexts. What does chapter 3 mix up your practice about in one sentence? Interleaving, varying, and spacing repetitions or practice lead to deeper encoding and better learning than mass practice. Produce stronger, longer-lasting learning than easy, fluent mass practice. Good enough. Why can blocked mass practice feel effective, but it leads to poor long-term? God, why is my fucking reading like this? Why can blocked/masked practice feel effective, but lead to poor long-term retention? Because it creates momentary strength, which is fleeting, and it doesn't lead to sufficient or a lot of encoding due to lack of effortful retrieval and spacing. It creates momentary strike performance and improves temporarily, but the learning doesn't stick due to lack of effortful retrieval and spacing. Good enough. What does feeling like you're not learning often signal an effective practice? It signals that you feeling like you're not learning is often a signal of effective practice that you're engaging deeply in effortful practice, and it feels harder, but it leads to better learning. Which feels harder but produces better long-term retention. Good enough. What is interleaved practice and why is it more important than block practice, or more effective than block practice? Interleaved practice is mixing up different problems or skills within a single session. It leads to better discrimination skills and retrieval flexibility, which leads to better long-term outcomes, learning outcomes. More durable learning. It's mixing different problem types or skills in a session. It builds discrimination and retrieval flexibility, leading to stronger, more durable learning. Good enough. Okay, before we do this last one, I'm going to add one more flashcard. We're going to have to create a new deck. Chapter 4, Embrace Difficulties. Cool. Here we are. And now I'm going to say, what are the... Oh, wow, there's so many sections in this chapter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What are the 9 sections? And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 subsections. This is just a fucking... of chapter 4, Embrace Difficulties. Okay. Got like an actual splinter in my finger right now. There it is. Come on. All right. Splinter extracted. What are the 9 sections? 1, 2, 3. Okay, well, we don't need to count them again. We'll number them here. 1, how learning occurs. 1, 2, A, encoding. 1, 2, B, consolidation. They are different. 1, 2, C, retrieval. 2, extended learning, updating, retrieval cues. 3, easier isn't better. 4, how effort helps. D, reconsolidating memory. E, creating mental models. F, broadening mastery. F, G, fostering conceptual learning. H, I, G, E, F, G, H, G, H, E, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, okay. Improving versatility. H, I, priming the mind. So I is the 9th letter in the alphabet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 should be. Oh my gosh, 5. Other learning strategies that incorporate desirable difficulties. 6. Failure and the myth of errorless learning. Oh my gosh, bro, is this gonna be harder to memorize? Fucking the 14 claims, there's 19 things here. An example of generative learning. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're good. Undesirable difficulties. All right, 9. The takeaway. All right, I'm gonna put an already question. I got a question. What are undesirable difficulties? What are undesired difficulties? Cool. All right, there it is. Let's try. We'll give it like 3 attempts today, and then we'll come back tomorrow. Try it again. I don't want to spend all day trying to memorize this. Maybe we can get it fast, though, actually. What are the 9 sections and subsections of Chapter 4 embrace difficulties? How memory works? No, how learning occurs. How learning occurs. And then encoding, consolidation, retrieval. We're just going to have to say everything we can. Undesirable difficulties are failure and how effort works. How effort helps. Other strategies, okay. How effort helps. There's going to be subsections there. Creating mental models. Priming the brain. The takeaway, embrace, undesirable difficulties. All right. How learning occurs, encoding, consolidation, retrieval, got that. Extended learning, updating retrieval cues. That one we didn't get. Easier isn't better, no, we didn't get that. How effort helps, reconsolidating memories, creating mental models, broadening mastery, fostering conceptual learning, improving versatility, priming the mind. Other learning strategies that incorporate desirable difficulties, failure and the myth of errorless learning, example of generative learning. Say, what is generative learning? I will say this feels pretty effortful right now. This is pretty desirably difficult. I'm sorry, okay, let's try again. Oh, what does varied practice help learners extract and transfer? The underlying principles or patterns, allowing for creative, unique application, enabling flexible use in new and unfamiliar contexts. We'll try that again. What does, oh shoot, what the, no, we did not get that right. Okay. What are the 9 sections and 9 subsections of Chapter 4 embrace difficulties? How learning occurs, encoding, consolidation, retrieval, extended learning, updating retrieval cues, easier isn't better, effortful learning, how effort helps, broadening mastery, creating mental models, priming the mind. That's 6. Did I already say easier isn't better? Yeah, I think so. Other strategies that utilize desirable difficulties, undesirable difficulties, the takeaway. All right. Examples of the generative effect, and an example of the generative learning. How learning occurs, encoding, consolidation, retrieval, extended learning, updating retrieval cues. Easier isn't better. How effort helps. Reconsolidating memories, creating mental models, broadening mastery, fostering conceptual learning, improving versatility, priming the mind. Other learning strategies that incorporate desirable difficulties, failure, and the myth of errorless learning. Example is generative learning, undesirable difficulties to take away. All right, did not get it again. What does varied practice help learners extract and transfer? Varied practice helps learners extract and transfer underlying principles and patterns, allowing for flexible use in new and unfamiliar situations. Let's go. Good enough. And I'll give this one more try, and then we're going to start reading. What are the 9 sections and subsections of Chapter 4 Embrace Difficulties? How learning occurs. Encoding, consolidation, retrieval. Extended learning. Updating retrieval cues. Easier isn't better. How effort helps. Reconsolidating memory. Creating mental models. Broadening mastery. Improving versatility. Developing conceptual understanding. Oh, we're one away from that. Other strategies that incorporate the desirable difficulties. An example of generative learning, failure and the myth of errorless learning, undesirable difficulties, the takeaway. Dang, we missed one. Priming the mind, I think, is the only one we missed. All right, good enough for today. We'll come back to it tomorrow. We're mixing it up. We don't want to mass it too much. All right. Now, with the remaining few minutes I have, I'm going to just read the first paragraph of Chapter 4, and then we'll recall it, and we'll call it a day. Talk to you in a sec. All right. This first paragraph is priming a story. They think they do this every chapter, is they tell us a little story and have a new character from real life, like a real person, but like have a character for the chapter. And this one is Mia Blendento, a military girl, basically. She's like 23 in this, 23 to 25 in this story. Just let me cancel this timer real quick. It's gonna run out. Yeah, she got offered to be like an officer for logistics, some special type of logistics where you got people jumping out of planes. So she's gonna be a logistics officer for this air supply team or something along these lines, and so she has to jump out of planes in order to be the officer, and so she has to go through jump school or something like this. She got to do jump training. She never wanted to do that. She doesn't want to jump out of planes, but it was a very desirable job that everybody as a logistics officer wanted, and she got offered it, but she had to jump out of planes to do it, or else someone else is going to take it. And so she's like, "Yep, I'll do it." And that's priming the chapter for desirable difficulties. Doing something that's uncomfortable, but she decided to do it anyway. I think that's kind of a symbolic for this chapter and foreshadowing for what's to come. All right, another day back into reading, so that's really nice. We're actually moving through the book once again. Feels good to continue to work my way through this. Yeah, that's it for today. I'll talk to you later. See you.